Okay. So do you have any questions regarding previous sessions?
So my JDB setup is not working Oracle. When I try to give my credentials, it's not working.
Okay, so you're trying to connect to Oracle, huh?
Yes,
So it's not working.
it's not working actually.
Mm-hmm. What it was saying?
Like just a bit,
The school exception.
just a bit.
Yeah, hi Venkat.
Yeah, hi.
Sorry for
Yeah, no issue.
Like it's saying the network adapter could not establish connection.
Oh, okay. So that is a connection issue actually. So that is a connection issue. So somewhere else something is missing. Did you add the server also, right? JDBC6 jar file. Jar file you
Yes,
added, right?
yes, yes,
While clicking the test connection, is the test connection you are getting the.
yes, yes. When I use my test connection, so I'm getting the adapter network adapter could not establish.
So did you give the privileges, grant the privileges after creating the database?
Yes, I did.
Hmm? You gave grant privileges also, right?
Yes, administration admin to
Hmm. After creating the database, we have to give the grant privileges with that particular user actually.
the
Hmm.
yes, yes, I give all this stuff.
Then it should work. Can you send me the POC? I will look into it.
Yeah,
Okay, so just can you send me the POC? I will correct it and I will send you back. Okay, so Tulsi, do you have any questions regarding previous sessions?
no Venkat.
Okay, fine. Um, okay, so coming to your yesterday, you told about so you want discuss about MUnit, right? So today we'll discuss
Yes.
about MUnit part. Rahul actually, so you want to, I mean, he have some work on project, so related to MUnit. So that's why today we are going to discuss about MUnit part. Okay,
okay.
so that's what the agenda today. This is a sample flow. So I'm going to create a minute for this flow. So generally, why people will return minute test cases. Okay, so here it's like a JUnit functional test, JUnit test cases actually. In our Java, so we have a concept called JUnit, right? So what we'll do in JUnit, so in the JUnit, so we'll mock the objects actually. So we'll expect the behavior. So then we'll mock the object. So we'll work on it accordingly. Suppose so we are hitting the third party. Suppose we are hitting some Amazon SQS, Amazon queuing methods we are trying to hit in our flow or else in our Java class. So what we'll do, so we'll expect the behavior. So then we'll mock the object, how it will look like. The response should be like this. We'll guess it. So accordingly, we'll hard code that assert the data. So that response will assert the data. So then if our logic will execute, it will give that data, so whatever you assert it, whatever you mock the object, can yeah. So can you mute it? So I'm getting some echo. You are not speak, then can you mute it? So if you have any questions, then you can unmute it. You can ask. So meanwhile, you can mute it. Okay. So that's what actually we have to mock the object. So we have to work accordingly. So in JUnit test cases like that, we have to write it actually JUnit functional test cases. Similarly, here also we have a test cases called MUnit test cases. So that's exclusively for MuleSoft. So it's based on the client requirement actually. Somebody they don't want to write MUnit test cases, but some of the clients they lost to write MUnit test cases also. So why? Because so if suppose client have a provision to deploy the your application whatever we are going to implement, so that we can able to deploy it if the provision provided by client, so then you can able to deploy it, we can able to test our functionality, is it working or not. So we can deploy that into servers, different environments, so then you can able to test it actually. But think like this, so client don't want to expose their servers to test your application, right? So that time what will do? So how will test your application is working or not, right? So now while developing time, we have a JT server internally plugin is there. So in the JT server, we'll deploy it, we'll test it, so we can able to know so it's working or not, right? So if you are using Anypoint Studio, so that time we can able to deploy internal server, so that is JT server. So then you can able to test it, so your functionality is working or not. But some of the clients prefer other than Anypoint Studio, like IntelliJ. IntelliJ is one of the IDEs that there is no deployment actually. So so whatever we just deploying here, right? So in the JT server, so we'll right click on the application, we'll deploy it to the server, right? So but if you use IntelliJ, some of the other IDs interfaces, right, for writing the code. So if you use that IDs, so you don't have facility to deploy your application. So then that time, how we'll check it, your functionality is working or not. So whatever you implemented flow, so is that flow is working or not, how can we test it? So for that purpose only, they introduce this type of MUnit test cases. You are getting right. So what was the scenarios? Might be client will expect MUnit test cases, whatever you are going to return, flows and subflows, and so some of the third-party connectors, we have to mock it. We have to write the test cases for that. So that is one case. Other case is you don't have a provision to deploy your application is working or not, we have to test it. So but you don't have provision to deploy the your implementation into server, you don't have provision. So then that time we have to test it, each and every flow, subflow and third party connectors are working or not. You have to check it based on the MUnit test cases. So there's two scenarios we have to write this MUnit test cases. Is it clear, right? So next one is, so how to write the test cases. Is it clear, right? So when you will go for this type of test cases writing, so there's two scenarios. One is client want to write each and every flow, subflow, and third party connectors they want to write it. So that is one case. Other case is there is no provision for deploying the data, deploying your application, then we should write. There is no other way to test your application, test your functionality is working or not. There is no other way. So we should write the test cases. Then your test case is passed, so might be your flow is working fine. You are clear, right? So any questions on that? Sorry, tell me.
There's no client request, but only we should go for everyone. It's mandatory to go for everyone.
Your voice is getting break. So can you repeat again?
Yes, So it's mandatory that we need to go for emulator. We can normally deploy it based on client request.
Yes, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying. So based on the client requirement, if the client want to write each and every flow test cases, then they have to write. There is no other option. So because if you are deploying also, somebody will ask actually each and every flow, each and every negative scenario, each and every positive scenario, each and every connector, third-party connector. Suppose you are connecting to Salesforce Drive, right? You are connecting to database, right? So we have to mock it actually. We have to mock that object. Is that working or not? Either it's a positive scenario or it's a negative scenario or a third party connector. So they want to mock it everything. So then that time we have to write the test cases, whatever you written the flows, right? Flows, subflows. So we have to write the test cases. But generally, if you have a deployment, so anyway, we are going to test our functionality, right? That is working or not. So then
Okay.
there is no use of that, but it depends upon the client actually. So they want to write the test cases. We have to write it.
Actually, what is mocking actually? What is the mocking?
Mocking means, that's what actually mocking means. You will mock the object actually. Suppose you are writing one database connection, right? You are writing one database connection. You are going to hit it. When you hit it, so that you are using some driver class. That object you are expecting, right? Once you are established connection established, what it will create, that connection object will generate, right? You are getting. So when you enter user ID, passport, something, database name, all credentials after entering, so you click the test connection. So when a connection is established, so the connection object will be generated, right? So what we'll do here, mocking means we'll mark that object, connection object will mock it actually. So mock it means we are guessing, so that's going to create object. So we'll mock that object actually. If the object is got created, so then our test case got success actually. Means we are guessing the output. We are going to mock it actually. You are getting.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what we are doing here. So here also, suppose we are writing one flow, right? What we'll do here. So coming to this flow. So here in this flow, this is a simple flow. Here we have a subflows are there, then some routing purpose we are using some choice condition also. Okay now. So if we here, so the request coming here, okay. So once the request coming here, so we are we are holding some data here, set up original payload we are holding here. After that I am calling subflow, right? This is what? It's a flow reference. Okay. So based on this flow reference, where it will jump that particular subflow, right? Wherever you are calling that subflow, so wherever you mention the flow name in the flow reference, so based on that it will jump. Where it will go, example flow 2. So it will jump to subflow. It will jump to subflow. This is my subflow, example flow 2. So in this what I am doing here, so I kept a choice condition here. So based on the user input, so payload 1 dot equals to payload. If the condition is satisfied, it will jump to examples of flow 1, right? Else it will jump to examples of 2. So it's kind of routing actually. So like that, once it will come to the examples of flow 1, again what I did, I kept a again flow reference here. It will jump to here. If it will go to the subflow 2, so then it will jump to here. So this is my flow actually. Here mocking means, so I was expecting the output. If this is come, this should happen. Like that I will expect the output, right? So then I will mock that actually. I will assert it. So that is the thing here actually. Suppose here, if you flow execute, user will give input. But in our test cases, nobody hit the request actually. Nobody hit the request. We have to expect it. If the user give this type of input, so this should come. If the user give different input, this should come like that. We have to expect the input, so then you have to mock it. You're getting? Hello guys, you are clear?
Yes, Venkat. Okay.
Yes, Venkat.
Yeah, so once again, so actually if the flow, if you see this flow, user interaction should be there, right? Whenever user hit the request, that time your flow will be executed. Coming to your minute, so whatever here user will send will guess the input, will guess the input. So that input we have to hard coded it. We can say hard coded. So then we'll expect the output also. If the user is sending this type of input, so this output will get it. We have to expect the both actually. So if the user is giving this type of input, this output will get it. We will asset that output, will mark the input. If the both are same, whatever you are expecting that both are same, the test case should be passed. Like that it will happen actually. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Venkat.
Yeah. Okay.
And one more thing,
Yeah.
Venkat.
Tell me.
What's the difference between this mminute and JUnit and Groovy scripts and
Yeah. Groovy script is it's a component in the MuleSoft. So we can write the Java code. So that is we can, it's kind of transformer actually. So we can take the input, we can convert into whatever the third party or else whatever the next level output required format, we can convert it actually using Groovy script. We can manipulate the
okay,
different input. Yeah. JUnit.
Groovy and JUnit
Hmm.
based on the Java we need to write.
Yes, yes. Groovy it will support the Java code actually. Whatever the Java code, right? So will execute in normal Java class. Same code it will execute in Groovy script actually. That will support. Okay, na? So coming
Okay,
to
means
your, yeah.
JUnit and Groovy is both are.
No, no, that's different. Now JUnit is, so you return one logic, right? In the Java class you return some logic. So that logic is executed or not, we have to test in the JUnit. But this coming to Groovy,
Okay.
Groovy component is a transformer in the MuleSoft. Okay, so you have to take the input, you have to convert into the some other expected format, or else suppose I want to write some Java logic, right? So you can use Java transformer, or else it will support Groovy also. Groovy also it will support. If you want to write some Java code inside, suppose I have to get some query parameter, or else I have to get some URI parameter. So after taking the URI parameter, I have to hit some third party REST calls. Suppose whatever I'm getting query parameter, I have to pass to the URI, I have to pass to some HTTP REST URL. You have to hit it, so then we will get back it actually. So once you get back the response, so then accordingly we have to give to the next level. I will show you some example. Get
In
ready.
these three, which one is the complex thing and which one is the easiest
Now
way to
these
do?
three are different. There is no relation. See, I will show you an example. Get a token. So Groovy is completely, yeah, see this. This is a Groovy component here. So see this, what I written in the Groovy script actually. So I mentioned total Java logic. It will support total Java code actually. See here, in this particular Groovy script, what I am writing here, I import the packages. Okay, I import the packages. After that I have some URL, some HTTPS URL is there. So my agenda is in this, I want to get some token actually. I will give some input, client ID, secret ID. I have to get the token. So that is the thing here. So first I have to import the packages, okay, Java packages. After that I hard coded that HTTPS URL. After that I I frame that, so whatever that it will expect the input, right? So that is a query. Means in the query I mentioned what is this? This is a username, and then this is the password. So both things I encoded it actually. Suppose if you want to get any token kind of authentication kind of thing, you have to pass some user ID password, right? So same thing I was passing here with the encoded data. So that is a UTF-8 format. Okay, so that is I was passing so many things actually. These are all input for that getting token. So after that, once you're done, so that I'm passing to HTTP URL. URL is a built-in class in Java, so that's what I was using. I'm trying to get that. See this. I'm passing that HTTPS URL, so which is hard coded by top level. See this top level. So next one is HTTP URL connection, also built-in class here. So then I'm trying to open the connection first. So after that I'm trying to execute it. So I post that because it's a post method. Next one is these are all required parameters to do that actually connection establish. Once you execute it, right? Once you execute it, output dot get bytes. This is the whatever you filled on the top, right? So that information we are passing, we are getting the input. It's kind of character by character actually. So that's what I was reading. I was reading here. I'm holding that information. Whatever I'm getting that information, I just kept in a one kind of variable. Set invocation property is nothing but a variable in the MuleSoft. I just hold into security key. I was using next level actually. So in this particular purpose, I was using this Groovy script actually. Why? Because the same thing you can write in a HTTP connector also. Sometimes it was not working, so that's why I was using Groovy script. So that is about Groovy script actually. So you can write the total Java code, it will support. So sometimes so whatever the parameters we are getting, we are just holding. We are trying to create a map kind of thing. So whatever the Java logic, right? So we can write that Java logic here. So that is about Groovy script actually. Coming to your JUnit, right? So that is whatever you written the Java logic. So that Java logic is executed or not. So we have to write one JUnit test case, right? So in the JUnit test case, we have to call that Java specific class. So we'll assert the data. So then assert the data means we have to expect this is the input you are passing to your Java logic. So this is the output you have to get it. Both you have to hard code it. If the both are equal, so then your test case got true. So you are passing some input, but you are getting whatever you are guessing output is not getting. So then that test case got failed. That is about JUnit.
In fact, in Groovy, we need to mention all, I mean, we need to write the code here. Groovy,
That's what
not
actually.
Java code.
That's what actually based on your requirement. If you write the Java code, it will support the Java code. I'm saying. If you want to write the Java code, it will support the Java code. You can write it actually.
I mean, we need to implement the Java code, or so the client will see the Java code.
See, actually, this can be written in different ways. Actually, suppose coming to particular requirement, you can write different ways. See here, my case is I want to get the token. So you can use HTTP connector. We can write it. We can get it actually. If you drag and drop HTTP connector, here we have this is a REST call, right? We have to pass that HTTPS. We have to pass the URL here, right? URL here. We have to pass all parameters as a it's kind of encoded format. You have to pass it. All this we can achieve using this one also, but in that particular case we are hitting the third party guy, right? So this HTTP connector is not supporting actually. We are unable to get the data. So that's why So internally, if you see this HTTP connector also, internally they written Java logic only, right? So that's why, so we are writing same logic. So whatever written internally, but in this case, we are getting the data. If you use HTTP connector, we are unable to get the data actually. Suppose we have to find out the alternative to get out of that requirement actually, right? So if HTTP connector is not working, so there is other alternative. We have a Groovy script is there. We have a Java transformer is there. We have a Java component is there. So which one is suitable? You have to go for that. Then you have to finish that requirement. That way you have to work on it. So tell me, you are saying something. Hello.
They're saying about Rahul and Novita.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Tulsi, I guess Tulsi only was asking question, right?
No, no,
You are clear, right?
I'm
You
fine.
are clear, right?
Yes,
You are
yes,
clear the difference between MUnit test cases and JUnit test cases and then Groovy script.
yes.
Okay. Okay, fine. So that depends actually. So if you see, if the particular component is not supporting, so we won't struck there actually. We have an alternative. We have alternative things. Then we have to go further. So then you have to finish it accordingly actually. So otherwise we'll stuck particular requirement. We are working on agile methodologies, right? Every day we have to do some, show some effort, so something like that actually. If that or else some of the clients are more technical, so they want to use only that specific component. Suppose they don't want to use Java code, so they will say already mail support is there, so why don't you use it only mail components. So somebody will ask like that. If that type of restrictions are not there, so you can use any Java code, any component based on your requirement actually. If you use in between Java also, there is no use, there is no performance issues, you won't get it actually, because so all the components, whatever the components they return, internally they return Java logic only. Each and every component they will return Java logic only. So that's why if you use Java logic anywhere, so there is no performance issues, you won't get it actually, because everything is Java only there. You're getting it. So that's the thing. So coming to the seminar test cases back. Okay, now so you are getting, you are clear this flow, right? You are clear this flow. So I'm getting the input. So okay, I'm holding that input. So after that I'm calling a subflow. Okay, so how will call the subflow? This is a flow reference. We have a flow reference here. There is a component called flow reference. Okay, so using this flow reference we have to drag and drop here. In the flow reference it will ask only one name actually, so that is nothing but a subflow name. Okay, now so that subflow is already created. How will create the subflow? We have a subflow option here. We have to drag and drop this subflow. Okay, so see the subflow how it will look like. So there is no error handling part actually, right? If you see here, this is a main flow have error handling part. If you see the subflow, this is the subflow, just I drag and drop it. Okay, and so there is no error handling part. So this will, who will how it will execute, this should call by somebody else, right? So for that purpose we have to use some flow reference. Okay, once we create the subflow, then so we have to use a flow reference. So then in the flow reference we have to mention that subflow name. Okay, accordingly it will jump to your subflow. So then whatever you written the logic in the subflow, it will execute it, then it will come back it, then it will continue the flow. So that's what happening here. So here also same thing actually. So I kept a flow reference here. So once your cursor will come here, according to event driven architecture, it will jump to example flow 2. Okay, so in the example flow 2, so I written some choice component for routing purpose. I kept a choice component. In the choice component, we can able to check the condition based actually. So it support MEL, Mule Expression Language. Okay. So in the payload one, in the payload, uh, so whatever you are getting the payload, right? The payload is equals to payload underscore one, right? In the payload, if it is equal to payload underscore one, right? So where it will go, it will jump to the examples of flow one. Else part, it will jump to the examples of flow two. If the condition is satisfied, so then it will jump to here, examples of flow one. If the condition is not satisfied, it will jump to here. So that's what happening here. Once it will come to examples of flow one, so what I mentioned here again, I just mentioned calling another subflow, right? So it will jump to here. So then if the condition is satisfied, it will come here. So once cursor will come here, again it will jump to the example subflow one. In the example subflow one, so what I mentioned here, I just written one variable. So where hyphen value 1, right? I just set a variable, my variable, so the value is this. So once it will take the data, so it will come back again, right? So where it will come back, so it will come back to main flow. So this flow it will come back here, right? So after that I kept here choice condition. So in the choice condition I was checking a condition like flow vars of my variable. So because we filled the variable there itself, right, in the subflow, so the data coming to the main flow, right? So it's equals to variable underscore value 1, right? We are hard coding the data. If you see here in the subflow, so here, so we are hard coding the data, right? If the value is that, if the value is that whatever you mention here, so then it will jump to the set response payload is, set response payload is, again we are hard coded response payload 1. If the variable is 2, so then it will go to the, it will go to the default condition response payload is 2. So you are clear the flow. So any doubts on this flow? You are using here two things. We didn't use earlier sessions that are flow reference. Okay, that is the one thing. Here we are using flow reference. Next one is there's a choice also we didn't use, I guess. So this is a choice condition, two new things. So here we can add multiple conditions based on the requirement, not only one condition. If else if, you know that, right? So in case of if you want to write multiple conditions, if, then else if, number of else ifs you can write it, right? Here also based on the, based on your requirement you can add multiple things actually, multiple else if parts you can add it. Finally anyway default condition is there, that is nothing but else part. Whatever you are writing conditions here, if all not satisfied, it will by default jump to the else part, it will execute the else part. Okay,
What we are passing is
what you are passing here, so it was expected some query parameter actually, that is nothing but a URL key. I will execute and I will show you. So URL key it was expecting, so that will pass through query actually, through URL debug as main application. Just debugging here. One second, hold.
the same. So see how is it?
Yes,
How is the project going on?
it's going on the implementing the services.
You are done with everything.
US people is there. They now they started to implement the services.
I mean, your part has done actually. You're doing something or
Yes, we got the project also. We are started also already. That part they told to create the immediate test cases for that service. They implemented the services.
Okay, so that got deployed. So here, so this guy was expecting some query parameter, so there is nothing but a URL key. Okay, so executing here. Was the which okay, so I just hit the request, so then it will jump to our flow. Okay, okay, so now the condition, breakpoint got triggered. We just hold that, see this, whatever you are passing that query parameter, we are get it actually. You can see here also in the debug mode, in the inbound properties, you can see here also your HTTP query parameter size 1. So that is the URL key. So there is a payload 1 I was passing. Payload 1 I was passing the value. This is the URI parameter, how we pass it. So after this actually question mark. So question mark up to here your host and port number. After that, so query parameter key equal to value. So this is a query parameter. So then I can value. So if you pass multiple things, we have to keep it a ampersand. You have to keep it separate with ampersand. We can pass multiple values. So until 256 characters, because it's a get request, right? You have to pass only up to 256 character length only. If it is a post, it's unlimited. Okay, so then see here. Yeah, tell me. You are asking.
Gateway will be post and post will be.
Yeah, it's unlimited actually. There is no restriction in the post, but in the get there is a restriction. You have to pass only 256 characters. Okay, so next here in our flow, so now it got the flow reference got triggered. So based on this, it will jump to our subflow. See here, so it will go to the subflow. So then here we are checking the condition here. So we can check like this also. In a debug mode, it will support the mule expression evaluate thing. Click the design, then copy this, then we can check it like this, mule debug, and click mule evaluate mule expression language and click here. So see this, we can see true or false kind of thing, right? So we are checking the condition, right? So we are checking the condition. So if data is getting, so then it becomes true, right? If it means what, we are sending a payload underscore 1 is the payload, right? So that's why the payload contains what, if you see like that also, what contains the payload. Okay, so payload contains payload 1, right? So our condition is got satisfied, right? So if the condition is satisfied, we are getting true. So then accordingly it will jump to the positive scenario. So it will jump here. So then based on this, again where it will jump, this is again subflow, right? It should jump again here actually, examples of flow. Like that your flows will execute. Then finally it will come back to main flow. So then again in the main flow, again we are keeping some choice condition again, right? If the condition is satisfied in the choice condition, again it will jump to here. Finally this is the response, right? This is a total response after once your logic got executed. Response payload 1, it should display, right? So then I'm clicking F8. So then go and check in your browser. So response payload 1. Okay. So this is the flow actually. So now we have to write the JUnit, MUnit test cases for this, right? You are clear. So that's a generally if you have a deployment, we can able to deploy it, we can able to test your flow, it is executing or not. Think like this, we don't have deployment, so then how will test it your functionality is working or not? So you have a deployment then now, so then we can able to test it step by step it. So how was the how we are getting import, then we are like that, we are testing step by step, so we are getting the output. So because we deployed into the Jetty server, then we are getting. So but if there is no deployment, so that is the case, we have to write these unit test cases here. So now coming to unit test cases, so how we'll write the, what are the things we have to take care while writing the unit test cases? So while writing the unit test cases, first thing is we have to write building blocks. Actually, first we have to write the subflows. Okay, so we have to bottom to top approach actually. So here, this is a main flow. This is a main flow. After that, this is a subflow. Again subflow here. So while writing unit test cases, we have to follow bottom to top approach. Okay. First we have to write the building blocks, means subflows we have to write it. All the subflows is behaving like as expected, we have to mention. Once subflows is done, then we have to write the main flow. You are clear, right? So then how to write the test cases? How to write the test cases? So once your flow is done, everything is working as expected. If you have a deployment, so everything is working fine. Then here, right click on here actually. If you right click on this, if you right click on bottom, it won't get option actually. Exactly, you have to right click on the top one. If you get it, you will get an option, MUnit. Can you see that option, right? MUnit. So then create a new suit. So when you create a new suit, it will ask us, it will ask the name and all, or else it will give by default some other name, right? Based on your flow, it will give the name, right? So once we create the test suite, it will come under test unit, SRC test MUnit. So this will come with the symbol. So then it will come like this. You are clear? As of now, I created already, that's why all this there, but as of one by one, we have to create it actually. First, we have to create this one, MUnit test suite example flow test one. So that is what example flow to test one. So I told you, right, first we have to write the subflows first. So that's why I written here. So if you see here, observe here, we have to think while writing test cases, we have to think broad way, like, so what are the positive scenarios we are getting, what are the negative scenarios we are getting. So we have to mark both the things, both the test cases we have to write it, both the scenarios you have to write it actually. Suppose in this choice condition, so if you are getting payload is payload underscore one, that is one case, this will execute it, right? Examples of flow one will execute it. Other case is what, payload underscore 2 will get it, this will execute example subflow 2. Means what, in this particular subflow we have two test cases will get it. You're getting? Okay, so that's why I written two things here. Forget the below things, just concentrate on only two things. So here MUnit demo test suite example flow test one. This is the first scenario. Other scenario is what? Second scenario, demo test suite example flow test two. So first scenario is what? If you get a payload one from the user perspective, user point of view, payload 1 will get it, right, as a query parameter. So that time choice positive condition will work it. You are getting. So second case is what, you are getting a URI parameter from the user, that is payload 2 will get it. So the negative scenario, that is else pod will execute. You are getting that. So here what I am trying to say, in this choice condition, two things are executed. One is payload underscore 1. This example subflow 1 will executed. Payload 2, payload underscore 2 is the payload name. So then payload value. So then it will execute to example subflow 2. You are clear? So that's why here I was returning two scenarios, test case 1, test case 2. So in the first test case, I am passing payload underscore 1. In the test case 2, I am passing payload underscore 2. You are clear, right? So if your flow is executed, I'm hitting the trigger, right? I'm hitting the request. So then accordingly, your flow will be executed. You're getting. But in this unit test cases, nobody hit the request. Nobody hit the request. You have to mark the input. We have to mark the input. So generally, if you see previously, when I was executing a flow, I'm giving the input. I'm giving the input to browser. Okay. So that request come to your flow, then that flow will execute. But in case of test case, so nobody hit the trigger, nobody hit the request. We just right click on that, we have to run unit test cases like that, we have to hit the request, hit the button, that's it. So that time what happened, whatever you are passing data, we have to mark it actually. So if the input is like this, what it will happen. If the input is something else, what it will happen. Both the things we have to expect it actually. Input we have to expect, input we have to give it, output we have to expect. So both will sync up. So then it will, your test case got success. You're clear what I'm saying here, right?
Yes.
Good. So next one is what we have to call the flow, right? So which flow we are writing? The subflow. So if you if you right click here, if you create a suit, automatically this part will come actually. These two things only I added. This part automatically it will come because we have to call that subflow, right? You are clear. You have to call that subflow. So that's why your flow reference automatically it will taken care by your MuleSoft itself. Right click on the subflow. Then if you create a test case, this part it will come automatically. So what I added extra thing, what was the input of your flow? So then what was the output of your flow? That's two things I was adding. So in the first thing I added so here we have to add a payload. So means input payload you have to add it, right? So that's why I add a component called set a message, set a message, set a message for testing. Okay, so this message I drag and drop it actually because I hold some payload. For that purpose I use that component. I need to hold some payload. I need to hold some information on this. So that's why I added this component. Okay, so next one is this is anyway you'll know, right? So based on this, when I call, when I call to this, it will go to your subflow. It will go to your subflow. With what it will go, with that payload, whatever you are hard coded in the set message, there is a payload underscore one. It will take it. It will go to your subflow. So then it will check your choice condition. Then it will jump to this example subflow one. So here it will go. Then this value it will take it actually. So coming back to your verify call. So this is for what? Verify call. What I'm trying to do here, once you get the request to here, once you get the request here through MNA test cases, so in this case what I'm trying to do here, so I'm calling to example subflow one, right? I'm asserting this, is that really calling example subflow one or not? I'm just trying to verify the call. I'm trying to verify the call. It is going to examples of flow 1 or not. I'm trying to verify it. So for that verification purpose, we have a component called verify call. We have a component called verify call. In the verify call, what I'm trying to do here, observe here, we have to mention, we have to use a condition called match contains. Match contains. You can search it here actually. So MuleSoft flow, you can search it what you are going to call it actually, either examples of flow 1 or else of flow 2, like that we have to search it. There is an option called on top of that, we can search like that. Okay, okay, so then you have to use it. So in my case I have to call examples of flow 1, right? I have to call examples of flow 1, right? So that's why I kept like this here. There is a match contains examples of flow 1. So then here message process verify times. So the time is once, only once I kept here option. You have to choose this checkbox. you have to keep it a one time. So then that time what happened, when a cursor will come here, so according to this, your choice condition is satisfied, then it will call to examples of flow 1, right? I am verifying that is that really calling examples of flow 1 or not. That's what here I'm testing here, verify call. If you are getting a, if you are assigning payload 1, it will jump to your subflow, it will execute it. So then it will, once it will execute it, it will call to the example subflow 1, right? Is that really calling examples of flow 1 or not? I'm testing here. That's what I'm doing here. You are getting in this case any issues in this? Any doubts? Why I'm using this particular component? Both of you.
Like
No.
we can debug this immunity also.
Sorry? Debug, huh?
We can debug
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
debug.
Yes, you can do it. See this. There is a toggle breakpoint here also we are getting. We can test it actually. So once you've done it, how will you execute it? Right click on the particular test case, then run MUnit test case. In this case, what happened here? Observe here, your total application will trying to deploy it again internally. We executed only one test case we executed, so the test case is got passed. If you get the green, if you get the error 0, so there is no issue actually. If you get any issues, it will show clearly error message is what, so that stack trace also it will show you anything, everything is fine. See this, whatever you execute, what was the flow you executed? So this is the flow you executed, right? MUnit demo test suite example flow test 1 you executed, that's got success. So this way you have to write it all the test cases actually. So this is a test 1. Similarly test 2 you have to pass it, you have to test it. Okay. So then next one is once you done the subflow, so then you have to write the test cases for main flow also. This is a main flow. Then again you have to write the functional test case also. Functional test case means so there is a whole flow is executing or not, we have to test it. Okay, so other guys joined. Rahul and Tulsi, you guys are clear?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Tulsi, actually I will share this POC. Just go through it. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll discuss, okay? So in this case, I was explaining the first subflow part only I explained, right? So remaining is main flow part, and then functional test case. Just go through it. So if you have any questions, just call me. I will explain you. Okay, no? Or else tomorrow we'll
Okay.
see. If you have still, if you have any questions,
Okay.
I will share the POC. Just go through it. If you have still, you have any questions, I'll explain tomorrow. Okay, now.
Okay. Okay.
So clear. So you guys drop off. So already one more session is starting with 7:30 people.
So
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank.
Um, Hi, guys.
Hi, sir.
Hey, hi. One moment actually I will sign off this, then I will log in once again because I have to give this recording to these people or else it will continue this session. Okay, now I will just log off, then I will log in once again. Okay, now? Just give me a moment. I will log off this, then I will log in once again. Okay, I will close this session because I have to share that recording. If not sign off, that recording will continue. Can I log in once again? I will close this session.